Welcome into the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, we are going to break down the winners and losers from Kansas City Chiefs Minicamp. We'll tell you everything you need to know, the highlights and the lowlights in just a matter of moments. Before we do, folks, highly encourage you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Harrison Graham, he's been on a little vacation, but no need to fear. I've been here bringing you updates here on the channel, and that should give you reason enough to subscribe right there. Doesn't matter if somebody's out on vacation or not. We do what we can to still bring you Chiefs content here on the channel. Help us get to 42,500 subscribers on the channel. We're just 43 away from reaching that milestone. Subscribe now for free for the latest happenings on your Kansas City Chiefs with daily news and rumors. We're also doing live shows, watch parties during the season, and more. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. We'll get started with today's show. Our first winner from minicamp, the obvious, the man himself, Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the National Football League. And I got to tell you, you may be wondering, well, what did Mahomes do this time? Well, that's where Matt McMullen of Chiefs.com came in and told us about Mahomes' performance in minicamp. Here's what he had to say. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes had a tremendous day with several impressive throws from various arm angles. Specifically, he fired a sidearm toss to wide receiver Skye Moore during 11-on-11 drills before throwing a fadeaway sidearm touchdown pass to wide receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling a bit later. Those were just two of several wow passes on the day from the reigning NFL and Super Bowl MVP. Mahomes also talked about how his new Netflix documentary, Quarterback, is set to be released here in the coming days. On July 12th is when that will come out, so a little bit less than a month from right now. So pretty exciting to see. And we also found out Mahomes' production company is going to be directly involved in this. So pretty cool. Certainly going to watch that when that comes out. Coming off a second career MVP and Super Bowl title this season, and you look at the numbers last year, over 5,000 yards passing, 41 touchdowns and 12 picks. What does Patrick Mahomes have for an encore in 2023? We'll see. But so far, the offseason activities looking pretty good for the Chiefs franchise quarterback. Name a winner from Chiefs minicamp. Who comes to mind that stood out to you? Tell me in the comments section. This is our pinned comment today. You might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it and get your votes in. Tell me a winner from Chiefs minicamp who comes to mind and let me know who you think. The next winner for Chiefs minicamp that we're discussing today is George Karlaftis, the Chiefs first-round pick from a season ago, expected to take on an increased role in the Kansas City Chiefs defense in 2023. And he talked to the media this week about minicamp and what he took away and what he expects for this upcoming season ahead. Here's more from Karlaftis. I think general improvement is the main goal. I'm really trying to focus on the little things and the mental side of the game. You can never get too good at that, the details and fundamentals. They're also getting bigger, faster, and stronger. I'm trying to hit it from every angle. So all about the little things for George Karlaftis there. And Karlaftis coming in, we mentioned former first-round pick. Quite the athlete in his own right, folks. This guy was once a member of Greece's youth national water polo team. And if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, you're going to be hoping to see more of that athleticism showing in 2023. Coming off a rookie season where he had 33 tackles, 6 sacks, and 2 fumble recoveries, I think the Chiefs looked at that season, you said it was pretty solid. Now you want him to take even a step further in an increased role in this defense. Working on those little things will be important there, but so far so good from George Karlaftis in offseason activities. Next up on our winners list, we're going to go back to the offensive side of the ball. Another second-year player. That's where we find Skye Moore making our winners list. And with Juju Smith-Schuster no longer around, the expectation for Skye Moore and others in this receiving corps is going to be an increased role. And Skye Moore is going to be a guy that I think everyone has their eye on to see what he has in store for this upcoming season. And he talked to the media this week about his second year and where he's at, saying this, just taking the next step and just being myself. Last year was a lot of getting here, knowing the culture, knowing the playbook, and getting a hang of how people do things around here. So now I get to show my natural ability and just show why they drafted me. So playing with a chip on his shoulder, something to prove. Moore went on to say he specifically wants to improve on his timings with Patrick Mahomes, that he would like to get more on the same page with the Chiefs quarterback there. So something interesting in that regard. Skye Moore last season, 22 receptions, 250 yards, averaged just a little over 11 yards a reception. He'll be expecting more here this upcoming season. More out of Skye Moore, no pun intended there. What was your biggest takeaway from Chiefs minicamp? We have some more winners, and we got some losers to get to coming up later. But first, your chance to chime in here on the Chiefs Report. What is your biggest takeaway from minicamp for the Kansas City Chiefs? Chime in and let us know in the comment section below. Next up in our minicamp winners is Jerick McKinnon. And I know what you may be thinking. Well, wait, didn't McKinnon not actually do much at minicamp? That would be accurate. But when you get into some of the details and everything, it sounds pretty good for Jerick McKinnon. Think about this, folks. Before I show you what he had to say about his veteran role. He was in attendance, but got the rest. Remember, this is 10th year in the league now. So anytime an older guy doesn't have to, put the gear on and all that, gets to kind of relax a bit and be there, that's a big win for him, just as an older guy to earn the respect where he doesn't have to do what everybody else is doing. Not a full participant at minicamp, but still actively involved in helping out and embracing that veteran role that he's bringing to this Kansas City Chiefs team. Listen to this. Now that Chad, referring to Chad Henne, is gone, I think I'm like the second oldest player on the team. It's always fun to watch the younger guys come in, not knowing what's going on, but watching them learn and go over that learning curve. That's probably the most exciting part about being a veteran on this team. And as you read stuff from some of the other guys, they're all talking about leaning on Jerick McKinnon and that veteran presence that he's bringing to the Chiefs team of being a mentor to these guys while still having a big impact on this Chiefs offense as well as he enters his third season in Kansas City, 10th year in the National Football League. And I know a lot has been made about this Chiefs running back room with the future of Clyde Edwards-Helaire in question, and then when you look at Isaiah Pacheco of not necessarily being the best receiving back, Jerick McKinnon is still going to be very, very important, I think, for this Kansas City Chiefs team. I mean, he's coming off a year where he set the Chiefs single-season franchise record for receiving touchdowns as a running back. He had 8 last season. Watch out for Jerick McKinnon to still be heavily involved in this Chiefs offense. One more winner that we want to get to from your Kansas City Chiefs at minicamp was a star that was an undrafted free agent out of Tulsa. I think we might need to call him the Fresh Prince of Westport or something if he's going to stick around in Kansas City. That would be Deneric Prince, who really caught the eyes of everybody that was around, including Jerick McKinnon. Listen to this, what he had to say about Prince. Yeah, he's nice. I've seen him on film. First of all, to be that big, that athletic is definitely rare. I think the first thing I texted the guys is, who is 34? He's big as hell, and he's moving really fast, but he's sure been a standout for sure. And we talk about how big he is. He stands at 6 foot 219. Began his career with the Texas A&M Aggies, but finished with the Tulsa Golden Hurricane, and he was solid last year with 126 carries, 729 yards, nearly 6 yards a carry, and 5 touchdowns there as he was reigning Kane for the Fresh Prince of Kansas City there. So pretty cool there. We'll see if he ultimately makes the team or not. We'll get to the losers in just a second, but first, name a breakout player for the Chiefs this season. Is it going to be Prince, or is there somebody else that comes to mind? Give me a breakout player to watch for your Kansas City Chiefs, and let me know in the comments section below. Let's get to the losers now of minicamp for the Kansas City Chiefs, starting with Chris Jones, who did not report to mandatory minicamp, and it could cost him nearly $100,000 for not being there. Now, it's a holdout. He's hoping to get that next contract, and he's entering a season where he is in the last year of his contract. Cap hit of about $28.2 million coming up. And we talked about this on the program a couple days ago, that Brett Veach, his track record is so good on handling these veterans and knowing when to extend or when to trade. We've heard the Chiefs organization say they want to keep Chris Jones around, that they are willing to give him a new contract. I think this is all going to be figured out. I'm not too worried about this situation. Chris Jones is a loser in this case for not being there, for not being involved and losing out on that money. But I'll say this, I'll be shocked if this doesn't all work itself out when it's all said and done as far as that goes. So Chris Jones on the loser list, but another guy on the loser list, we're going to turn our attention to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And with Clyde, for one, we don't know if he's going to make the roster with what we've seen at the other running backs, like what we told you about earlier in the show. But we found out some details from Clyde this week in regards back to the Super Bowl, that in the lead up to the Super Bowl, he was active. He was around in practice, but yet still was not around, right? We didn't see him in that Super Bowl. And then, of course, he wasn't at the Super Bowl parade, and now his future is in question. Things are not looking good for the former first-round pick. Listen to this. Matt Derrick tweeted this out just within the last day or two. Chiefs running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire reveals he had two surprising roles leading into the Super Bowl. He played the role of Eagles wide receiver Devonta Smith on the scout team and preparing to play the Z receiver. Chiefs had a banged-up receiving core he would have filled if needed. Ultimately, he didn't need to, and we didn't see Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So very unfortunate for him. His days in Kansas City might be numbered at this point. One more loser on this list, and that is Justyn Ross. And Justyn Ross not around at a minicamp as he's recovering from injury. And we know that he's dealt with injuries previously. That's why the Chiefs were able to get him as an undrafted rookie last season. But sometimes the best availability is availability. And Justyn Ross, if you want to make this roster, got to find ways to stay healthy. Listen to this from Pete Sweeney. Wide receivers Justyn Ross and Kadarius Toney did not participate in team periods in day one. Toney worked team periods in day two, whereas Ross continued to watch and was still not able to give it a go. So there you have it. Name a loser from Chiefs minicamp. We gave you a few names. Who are some others that come to mind? Name a loser for me for the Chiefs in minicamp in the comment section below. Hit me up on social media, not just talking about the Chiefs, but other NFL news across the National Football League on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live. You can follow me there, and I'll see you next time right here on the Chiefs Report.